Hey everybody, it's your girl Angel Queen. This is Angel Queen's Triumph. Thank you for tuning in. It is officially un momento por favor 12:45 in the AM. So yes, it is already Monday morning, the 28th of November. I got up, I took a shower, I cooked my food, which you guys will see um, the outcome of that. No, I did not record me making my food because it was like not really important to do that. The last video I did, the one previous to this one, or prior, the one prior to this one, shows you guys me prepping all the ingredients, and basically all I did was cook everything up. So the onion and garlic got sauteed in olive oil, and the tuna fish, you drain that. I chopped up some cheddar cheese. I chopped up some, oh no, I chopped up some cheddar cheese into little slices and then into little long slices, thin slices. And I put the penne noodles in with the spiral fusilli, I believe is the name of the noodle. So with the fusilli noodle with the broccoli and cheddar sauce, all of that I put in 2 cups of water, because I do not use milk. I only use butter. The country crock y'all seen. I don't do milk. I'm lactose intolerant. So I put that in there, and then after I cooked the penne noodles with the fusilli noodles, broccoli and cheddar, I didn't have to drain it. I did not drain it. I put an extra cup of water halfway through it cooking, because the penne noodles tiny bit harder in texture and bigger than the fusilli noodles. Okay, so I did that. Cooked that down till it was al dente. That's how I like it. At the same time, I fried my fried bakes. You'll see me prep those too. And after everything was all done, cooked, I put it all in the same orange bowl y'all seen me have. I put all of that together in the same bowl. So it's the noodles with the garlic and onion sauteed, and then the cheese and a little bit of grated Parmesan. Mixed it all together. Then put in the tuna. The tuna's not cooked, it's just in the can. Make sure you drain it. Put the tuna in, stir it up. Throw in the chopped up tomatoes y'all see me prep. No cooking the tomatoes. Stir it up. And that was done. And then I showed you guys the after, me eating it. Okay, so that's what I did. So anyway, I wanted to talk about something that was very important to me, something that I've been going back and forth in my head about. I've told you guys about me telling my mom I'm going to want $450 every month, the beginning of the month. That's in the other video as well. And why I would want that money and why I think she should give it to me without any more hassles or me having to ever ask or anything like that. And so I started thinking about that the way I have to go about things is always like somewhat kissing her ass for stuff, like to get help that she should be offering at this stage in my life, with the things that I've been through, the fact that everything that spiraled out of control for me in my life came from not just what my father did, but a lot from what she did. Growing up and beyond into my teenage years, into my young adult years, into my older adult years, and then start messing, not messing, but treating my children, like shit, in my face. And then treating her other grandchild in my face like he's a golden kid, like she used to do with my brother. He was the golden child. You know what I'm saying? So watching her do that, and then the way she had treated my children, was like, okay, you're still doing it. You're still doing what you've been doing. Now, mind you, I've cursed my mother out I don't know how many times when I was living with her. Like, because she would never acknowledge, and narcissists don't. She's a covert narcissist. Narcissists do not acknowledge when they're wrong. They will come up with every excuse under the sun why they did the things they did. And so I would have to wait for certain incidents to happen. And then right when those incidents are happening, I have to stop her and be like, you see what you're doing? This is what you were doing before. This is how you were doing this. And remember how you did this to someone else. And then, you know, like it's just, you're doing effed up stuff. Let me just put it like that. You know what I'm saying? So I would call her on her shit when she was doing her shit at the time she was doing it. All right. And then, of course, she would have her sarcastic, fake ass apology. Come into the room after we've been upset with each other and had our argument. And she went in her room and sat down and gave me the silent treatment for however many days, like maybe I would say 3 days at the most. She gives me silent treatment. And then, and mind you, even though she was giving me silent treatment, if I was going to the store, I'd still ask her, do you need anything? Of course, she would say no, but that's what I would do because that's just who I am. I'm over it. I said my piece. I'm good. I'm not the one who needs to sit back and think about what you did. You need to think about what you did. So I would go about my business and she would give me like silent treatment for 3 days until she was over it. And then when she was over it, and I guess she had done her thinking, and figuring out how she would get things kind of back on track and smooth things out to where she can continue to manipulate. So she would come into the room and be like, if I did anything to upset you in the past or now or anytime, well, I apologize. And that was the way she would apologize. So, like, really? So I'd be like, okay, yeah, it is what it is. It's whatever. And I'd go back my life. And then eventually till the next incident happened. And then I have to go through the whole process over again, but it's a new situation. It's a new incident that happened. And then I have to bring her attention to that. And it's all like these repetitive things that I'm constantly doing. And even until this day, I know for a fact that when me and my mom talk on the phone and I'm talking about something important to me, I told you guys this in the other video, she's yawning or she has to go to the bathroom or whatever the case may be. But if I switch the subject onto her, no longer is she yawning, she's no longer sleepy, and she forgot about having to go to the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? Because the topic is about her. So that was like so much blatant shit she did and still does to this day. I can be on the phone with her, even from where I'm at. If she needs my help with something, we can stay on the phone for hours for me to help her with whatever she needs help with. If the subject starts to be about me, I'm, oh, oh, or, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. And it's not number one, where she could just go to the bathroom and come back to the phone. You understand what I'm saying? So, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. And so intentionally after she did all that yawning and made her statement of having to use the bathroom, patting her belly where I can hear it, sometimes seeing her doing it when I'm on video chat, but then I'll purposely ask her about something from her childhood when she was in Trinidad. And no lie. And I'm going to video that one day when I'm able to. But no lie. No longer does she have to use the bathroom. Topic can go on forever. And she can talk about it for however long. And no more yawning. Not until she's done talking about it and she's ready to go get off the phone because she doesn't want me to start back talking about myself. So my thing was this. I have a bit of a dilemma. And that's why I want to talk to you guys about this. Because it's not just that I need help being held accountable. That's my other video as well. Being held accountable and so forth and so on about the things I want to accomplish, right? I also want to know how you guys feel about a person who has mental disabilities from the abuse that they suffered growing up. And one of those abusers is now an elderly person. And that is the person you have to take care of. All with the messed up stuff that they did to you, all with your effed up mental capacity, all with your struggles in life in itself. And then the last thing that's going to happen is you're going to have to take care of that person when they're old, or you're going to put them in a nursing home, or you're going to get them an in-home nurse. I'll tell you why those other two things aren't an option for me to do. If my mother goes to a nursing home, I'm guaranteed she's going to be abused because she talks a lot of shit, because she's a narcissist, and because she's manipulative. And when somebody catches on to that, you may not have every single person that works in that nursing home have a kind heart towards the elderly. And the way she is, being raised in Trinidad, which was ruled by England, my mother thinks she's Hasididi, and so that's what's going to happen. And if I get her somebody that's an in-home nurse, not only do I have to be there, but I have to keep popping in. And it would be the same thing with the nursing home. I would have to keep popping in, unannounced, just to be sure that that person's not abusing her or stealing her things out of her house or whatever. So I would still have to be in Florida to do that. Now, my other option was going to be to take her to New York with me when she got to an age where she couldn't do all the stuff on her own. But I don't want to wait that long to be back in New York. So my only other option is to take care of her when she's elderly, which would mean, okay, I may have an apartment back in New York, and I would have to travel back here to take care of her, back to New York, back to Florida to take care of her until she passes, or until she goes into a hospice and she passes. Okay? Then I have to get rid of all her things, all her household things, because I know the house is going to go into foreclosure, because I don't want that house anyway. But I have to get rid of all her things and get her buried, or cremated, whichever one, and I believe it's cremated that she wants to have done. Get her cremated, and everything that's maybe any kind of financial shit, I got to get it into order, right? Because I am the only one left that has the capacity to do so, the physical capabilities to do so, and the maturity to do so. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, and the fact that like I said, I'm the only one left. She's burned every bridge with every single human being except for myself and Mr. Raw. And Mr. Raw just turned 85 this November. I think it was on the 5th. So he's 85. He's not going to be able to continue to do anything for her past a certain stage at some point. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to probably be driving anymore, so she'll have to get back on the bus, which wouldn't be a problem for her, but she has to carry her groceries to her door and all that kind of thing. So it's still going to be somewhat of a challenge, right? My thing is, you abused me even up to my age of 48. You treated my kids like shit, and you were just meeting them. Both the two ones that you were just meeting for the first time, you treated like shit. Blatantly. Then I watched you literally bend over backwards and come out of pocket and just do things for a 40-year-old grandchild. Yes, mind that he's your first grandchild, but for a 40-year-old grandchild of yours, and he could do no wrong. Wreck your car, crack the TV that my brother left you, and you replaced that. You pay for the issues with the car that's been crashed. Fucked up your rug that I had to clean when I first came because I just don't like nastiness. But I cleaned that rug. I actually took a broom and a scrubber and the machine to that rug to bring that rug up to like brand new status. He comes along and fucks that rug up. Like it looks like that rug has been in her house for like 10 years and never washed. That's how bad it looks. And he was only there 8 months. So, and I watched now, mind you, she has to have somebody come in and clean that rug because she sent him on his way and the rug wasn't cleaned yet. So now somebody has to come in and clean that rug. So you see, she doesn't mind all that. Now, when my daughter was there, my daughter stayed 2.5 months, if that long. Might even have been a little less than a month, 2 months. But anyway, she stayed, let's just say 2.5 months, 3 months. Let's just say that amount, which it wasn't. It was less. But anyway, trying to get off that. But during the time she was there, you had to have her cursed out almost every day. But when you needed her to do something, you had no problem with asking her to do it. And she did it. And you made her so uncomfortable that she left. On her own, she left. You did the same thing when my son wanted to meet you for the first time when he was 14, and he comes over, and every little thing you can think of to hit him or to listen to him getting a beating from his uncle or anything that was wicked that you can do to him, you did. And you knew he was on medication, and you knew he had a mental illness because you were told before I ever saw you again. And this was 14 years of me not seeing my mom. that I decided, okay, we'll go see her. You understand? So, no, ma'am. And now I'm the one you shit on, the one whose kids you shit on. I have to take care of you. I have to take care of you when I have physical ailments and mental issues. I have to take care of you when I'm much older because it's not like she's going to go from 80 to 85 and I'm still going to be 49. You understand? I'm still going to get older and I have to take care of you or those other two options I mentioned. And my dilemma with that is why? Why should I? And I'll tell you why. Because it's the godly thing to do. Because it's who I am. It's in my nature to do. My empathic self, my introvert self, that's what I do. My compassionate self, my sympathy self. And that's what I am. That's who I am. So no matter what people do to me, and they know they're wrong when they do it. Because now I'm watching my mom sort of like kind of fake this new affection for me based on the fact that I'm still, even from afar, taking care of her needs. Now, physically, I can't help her with anything. Financially, I can't help her with anything. But anything else she can get me to do from afar, she will get me to do it from afar. So it's like, okay, most of it's really computer stuff or phone issues. But that's what that is. It's still something for me to be doing for her when she needs to get a problem solved. And I'm doing all of that from afar, out here struggling. So I decided that instead of asking my mom for the money or even telling her that I'm gonna need you to give me 450 at the beginning of every month, instead of me doing it that way, I'm going to do it the way that in a way she'll understand it. You understand? She'll probably still be pissed underneath the lining, but she won't be able to like justify an angry response. So how I'm going to put it is, and this is how I'm trying to rectify the situation for myself. But if you have a different suggestion, by all means, leave it in the comment section, please. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell her, just like I've been telling her and putting in subliminal messages in her head for the longest time about the fact that you get your pension and you get your Social Security, right? And then you get a military check from my father. Morally, from a moral standpoint, not because the government sends it to you and the government deems you should be the one to get this money, but from a moral standpoint, which she does not have, but I will give it to her for that day because that's what she's going to do. She's going to absorb that, mimic that. You understand? So, from a moral standpoint, as a mother, watching your children struggle or watching your grandchildren struggle, but specifically watching me because you've given them enough and they've gotten more from you than a little bit and they didn't do anything whatsoever to earn it. I've done everything to earn it. Okay? So, my father gets this check, or he went to the military and he did what he did, and you get this check for him every single month for the rest of your life. You get this check from him being in the military. But he's dead. Before he died, he was living in West Virginia, not with you. So you haven't had to see him, take care of him, cook for him, clean his clothes, nothing, take any abuse from him, nothing. But we have to see him every time we look in the mirror. And the abuse he left behind is still affecting us today. So it's not affecting you because there's no blood running through your veins. So you are nothing like him to a certain extent, other than what you picked up, like, you know, the whole cursing thing. I know she picked that up from my father because she didn't used to curse when she was in Trinidad. That was a no-no for girls. But you picked that up, so that's something a bad trait, I would say, that you got from him. But you didn't pick up any other thing. You don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't do any drugs, you're not homeless, you're not suffering from any mental illness that you want to acknowledge, or it's fucking up your life. Nothing's happening to you, but stuff is still happening to me. Let me not even concern myself about my siblings. They're all gone. They're all gone. They're gone. If they're not dead, they're gone. They're not coming back to her and being in her life and taking care of her. They're not going to do it. It's not happening. My eldest brother's not doing it. The brother she left in North Carolina when he was 16, he's damn sure at 50 years old and already been away from her all those many years, is not going to take care of her. So there is no nieces and nephews of mine, her grandkids, that are going to be willing to take care of her. The only person she might have had she played her cards right, would have been the son I raised. Because he has no problem with being around elderly people. He has no problem with helping elderly people. In fact, what he does for a living with his mental disability, he works with the mental disability. I'm disabled. That's what he does. So that's what he does for a living. So it's like, and I wouldn't want him to stop his life to take care of her anyway. Because when he came out to meet her for the first time, she treated him like shit. Like straight up shit. So now, so I know you don't have that. You burnt every bridge from your family to my father's side of the family to all of your children, your grandchildren, and your great grandchildren don't know you. So what's up? I'm gonna be the one to have to do something. I weighed my options and I said, you know what? I'll probably do get her a nurse to take care of her, be there for her during the time the nurse is there, and then bounce when I feel confident about this nurse taking care of her, and come back sporadically and check on her. And that's how I want to do things because I personally, myself, don't want to take care of her. I don't want to. I don't want to help her with anything. But in my nature, again, my natural state, I will do those things. In the beginning, I will start off doing those things. But I'm still going to be obligated to take care of the rest of everything when she's gone. Now, that's not something where it's like, oh, yeah, well, let me just leave. You know what I'm saying? Leave it. And plus, I can get paid a lot of money for all the shit she has in her house. But see, this is the cynical part of when you have certain kids that you see sometimes on the news or whatever, like, yeah, they did this to their parent, they did that to their parent. And most of those children might have been privileged, but they didn't get the love and attention and affection and so forth. They just got, like, here's all the money, or here's all the, whatever cars and shit, material shit, you know what I'm saying? But not the real important guidance and all that, you know? And I didn't get either one. So go figure. You know what I'm saying? Now my siblings got at least the money part of it, even if they didn't get the guidance. But then they even got that too, because she was all up in her grandkids' lives when it came to my siblings. Going above and beyond the call of duty when it came to my siblings and their children. So my thing is this: I'm going to put her in a nursing home, or I'm not in a nursing home. Sorry, I'm going to get her an in-home nurse. I'm going to be around for her to know that, get to know that in-home nurse. Then I'm going to dip to New York, get my spot, get my place, get it fixed up, and I'll make sporadic trips back down just to see how she's doing. But all of that's going to be done with her money. I'm not spending my money on it. I'm not spending any of my money on the trip I have to make, there or back. And that's how I try to figure out that that's the way I should do this. Because as I was getting ready to state, most kids that have gone through something like that will leave their parents in a nursing home and never come and check on them. You ever seen those parents like that? They're elderly people, they're in a nursing home and nobody checks on them. Nobody comes to see if they're being abused or properly taken care of or have all their needs met. Now, sometimes that's because some people just have asshole kids. But other times it's because I believe, not factual, disclaimer, this is not factual, this has not been researched, but I do believe that sometimes people put their family member in a nursing home and leave them there to rot based on how they treated them. I do believe that. And it's either you gave them too much in excess or you gave them way too little. And one way or another, both those outcomes came down to get your ass in a nursing home. Here you go. I am not about to take care of you. And when you die, hopefully you left me something in your will too, on top of everything else. And that's the thing. You see? So with my situation, I'm still at least being kind enough to say, I will put you in a nurse. Not, I keep wanting to say that. I will get you a nurse because I know she's a scary person. She doesn't want strangers in her house. You know what I'm saying? And she's afraid that somebody's going to rob her for her stuff, and which I'm sure they would. She's got a lot of nice stuff from estate sales, even though she didn't pay the amount that they were worth. It's still nice shit. Something that might have cost $300, $400, and she only paid like $50 for it, but it's still nice shit. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if she's there by herself and she's incapacitated to a certain extent, I'm absolutely sure somebody's going to take her shit. especially if there's nobody else there to mind her, or mind that person. So that's something I want to avoid happening because I'm not cruel. I'm I can be mean, but I'm not cruel and I'm not wicked, and I'm not going to do that because she is an elderly person, regardless of how I feel. She's still an elderly person and she's still a woman. So, therefore, I will make sure she's good. You know what I'm saying? But all in all, I started to think I'm going to still stagnate my life. I said I wanted to go to New York by the time I'm 50 and see my grandkids that I have not met yet. Go to North Carolina first, meet my first granddaughter from over there. I mean, my granddaughter from over there, and then go to New York and all this, and then have to come back here and have an apartment out here in order to take care of my mom. Like now, when I get back to New York, I want to stay. I want to stay, and I'm going to stay. And I can't allow my kindness, my natural way to let me be like, I'm going to let the remainder of my years be me changing my mom's diapers, cooking her food, cleaning her house, you know, putting her in the shower, changing her clothes, doing her hair, clipping her nails. Like all these things are stuff you will have to do for an elderly person once they become incapacitated, unless you get somebody else to do it. And I've decided, like, you don't deserve me doing those things. You don't deserve me putting the rest of my life on hold. Because who's to say that when I'm done taking care of you, I can enjoy whatever life I have left if I'm like, let's say for instance, she lives till 100, okay, and she's 80 now. That's 20 more years. I'll be 69 going on 70. Like, no. Actually, sorry, no. Oh yeah, yeah. I'll be 69 going on 70 in 20 more years. Like what? No. 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 That's not an option. Then my life is pretty much lived out already now. Not to say that at 70 I'm done, but I'm just saying like my health is not going to be at its peak, not the way that it will be still now. So like, no. No. I've decided. And that's what happens sometimes when you're a narcissist. You may not want to think about your future, but you better think about your future. Because whatever child you have that you either put on a pedestal or competed with or straight out treated like shit, that's most likely going to be the one that's going to have to take care of you. Because everybody else that got treated like, yeah, mom gave me everything. I'm busy now. I got this kind of wonderful life, and I'm busy now. I got a family, I got kids, I got a perfect job, a nice house, whatever. I'm not coming back there to take care of her, and that's exactly how they feel about that. And that's the ones you treated well. Or if you treated all your kids like shit, and they ended up dropping off one by taking their own lives, well, guess what you're stuck with? The one who didn't take their life. But the main one you shitted on, never listened to, always had doubts in your head about, they weren't going to accomplish it. So that's why you treated them that way. Or did that to them. They weren't going to be able to, like have a happy life with some man because they're ugly to you, or whatever the case may be. All the shit you did to that person. Then their kids come along and you don't want nothing to fucking deal with them. And when you do have to deal with them, you're faking it in front of people. And as soon as everybody's gone, you're treating that child like a piece of garbage. And that's what you've been doing to me. So if anyone else out there is doing that to their kids, you better stop. You better stop. You better really sit your ass down and become self-aware. Because if you don't, the same topic I'm talking about right now, even though I rarely ever hear it talked about. Matter of fact, I never hear it talked about. A person, an adult person with mental disabilities, physical disabilities, taking care of the abuser, the parent that was the abuser, being the only one left to take care of that abuser. I don't hear anything about that. So, I would like to know if anybody else out there ever had to go through that or is personally going through that now. And it doesn't have to be a parent, it could be a grandparent, it can be an aunt or an uncle, it can be whomever is in your family that you might have been left to care for while everybody else went about their business, but you were the one who was abused the most and for the longest time. But now you find yourself in a situation of having to care for the abuser because you're the only one left to do it. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with that? And that's what I want to know. But as I stated, I am going to tell my mother how I'm going to ask her, how much do you get in the money that's from my father's military pension, I guess? How much do they send you a month? And whatever she tells me, I'm going to gouge how much I want out of it. And I'm going to suggest that to her. Well, every month, do you mind sending me such and such until I get on my feet? That's what I'm going to do. Without me ever having to ask you for it, beg you for it, give you a whole story as to why I need it. And you just do it every beginning of the month, every first of the month. Just send me a such and such amount. And we'll never have to speak of it again. And when I do finally have my own, I'll let you know, and we can cut it off, and that's the end of that. But that's what I want to do, and that's how I'm going to go about it. And I think I'm justified in doing it that way, after all I've been through for the last 49 years of my life. Okay, so, yeah. But anyway, I want you guys to leave down in the comments below and let me know, like, how would you handle a situation like this if you're able to relay what your ideal of this kind of situation would be like. Because I know if you're responding and you have mental illness and you're having to take care of somebody elderly, you might not even, or if you even have to do that, because most of the time I don't think they have to do that, or that they're even asked to do that. It just so happens that I'm on both spectrums of the fact that not only am I suffering from the mental illness and the physical illnesses, but I'm also on the other side, a compassionate, empathetic, and caring and loving and attentive and nurturing person. So, and an introvert, so I'm not like, oh, I don't have the time. You understand? So like other people's life might not be like that, and mine is. So I'm just saying, tweaking it for just the part of, if you suffer from mental illnesses, how do you take care of an elderly family member or anybody who's elderly that you're like connected to or whatever? How do you go about helping that person when they were the ones who basically helped shape your mental capacity now or your physical capacity now? Like, how do you take care, even if it's a husband, a spouse, you know what I'm saying, husband, wife, children, it doesn't matter. Like, how do you do that now? So that's what I want to know. And if you guys have any ideals that you think might be better than what I'm talking about, or you just have a story to tell, leave it down in the comments below and we can go from there. But this is, between this video and the video before this one, like, this is going to be what's going to be going on. Not only me being held accountable for the things that I'm doing or attempting to do to get to where I'm trying to go, but also talks about what this whole platform for me, my YouTube channel, was supposed to always be about. How does a mentally ill, physically ill person take care of their elderly parent or elderly family member or elderly spouse? How do they do that? And they were abused by this same person. Like, how do they do that? And I just want to know if anybody out there has a story to tell. But anyway, thank you guys for listening. I do appreciate it. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And there will be more of these kinds of discussions coming up. Oh, and one other thing that I wanted to tell y'all, fun fact really quick. You see the spirals on this? I don't know if you guys can see that. You should be able to, right? I didn't even realize, like, I knew this had that on there. That's why I don't wear it out, because it looks more like a older woman's, how they go out back in the days, they would wear these on their heads, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm thinking like, yeah, this really looks like one of them elderly women's kind of head caps and stuff, right? So I was like, I'm not going outside in this, but it's for me to go to sleep with. That's what it's for. It's for me to go to sleep with to keep my hair moisturized, right? So anyway, I didn't even realize that the coils I put in my hair that you guys saw in the other video, or in another video, anyway, yeah. But yeah, the coils I put in my hair, I didn't even realize were basically these same things that are on the cap. All right, I'm done. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye bye. Stay good. Peace out. All right, y'all. As promised, fried bake. Okay, got one done here. Boom. Got one going. Yeah. Got one getting ready to put her in. Let's go, baby. All right. And of course, y'all know I already ate one. So, you'll see the footage, But yeah, I had to get her done and get something in my belly because y'all see what time it was. So, yeah, I had to gobble, gobble, gobble some down, do some other things. And I said I still got two more I gotta fry up. So, get that done. Let y'all see that happening, like I promised. Show you what was already done. And it was good. It was good. It was very good. Especially that combination just was like, yeah, the homemade garlic onion bread with actual pieces of garlic and actual pieces of onion, not sprinkled powder. Chop them suckers up. And if you can get it to get, like if you have one of those things where you can grind it up really good, the onions and the garlic, and make it more of like a paste to put in that, that's even better. And don't forget, the last time I did it with some scallions. So, yeah, you can hook it up for real. And I like it because it's only got you can even use, if you're into the wheat flour, unbleached flour, the unbleached flour, or you're into the, bleached flour, or whatever the case may be. Yeah, like, whatever you're doing, whatever flour you like, you can throw all these things inside, fry it up in some heart-healthy vegetable oil, some olive oil, which is good for you. Boom. You feel me? Yum. Very tasty. You ain't gotta feel bad about it when you eat it. And another thing I noticed about whenever I use olive oil with my vegetable oil, either Wesson's vegetable oil that has the same kind of heart healthy thing going on with it, with the low cholesterol and whatnot, when I mix that with any olive oil, you know what I'm saying? It could be expensive, it don't have to be too expensive, whatever your flavor, right? But when I mix the two, there's not as much grease that comes off. Like, it's not that it's absorbed into the bread. Like, when you eat the bread, you'll be eating the bread, but there's not a lot of oil. It's like really good. Really good with that. If like if you take something and you put it on the napkin, and then also the napkin absorbs whatever's left, and I'm telling you, it's not greasy. So that's what the two mixtures do. That's been my experience. I do that with my fish. Everything gets fried in both a mixture of vegetable oil and olive oil. I used to do the canola oil, but I was like, I think I heard something about canola oil not being as good. I never used peanut butter oil, or peanut oil, I should say. I should have said peanut butter oil. I never used peanut oil, so I don't know about that. But who knows? I just know this combination right here, it works. These come out very tasty. When the middle is still looking like that, it's not done. That middle needs to be gone and looking like the rest of this part up here. But here, you can see it still needs to stay in. But it should look like that all the way around. You feel me? So that's how you know they're done. You can make them really, really thin and they'll puff up a little bit more.
because the skin is, like it's so thin that it's like almost like you're gonna get a puff of two puffs of skin, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like you can insert stuff into, but it have to have a little bit of. There you go, like that. Feel me? Just like that. Yeah, it can have a little bit of like what the fuck was I talking about? When I showed you all that, I just lost my train of thought. It's good though. I was probably talking too much anyway. But there you go. You see how that look? Yeah, that's how you want it to look. Both sides. Oh, we still got a little here. We're gonna put it back for just a couple of more seconds. This side, boom, starting to turn, and put it back on that side. And you don't want to do too much, but you don't want. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. It'll be like a little bit thicker than like a thin, like you can't see through kind of skin, but you'll be able to stuff like your tuna fish and all that kind of stuff into it. So you can like cut it. You know what I mean? Or even when you do like this, you can still cut it down the middle, open it up, put whatever you want stuffed in there. You feel me? It's really good. It really is good. And you just notice it gets a nice little brown on it. You see? So yeah, these right here, I had thawed them, and the powder was still like sticking them. So that's why that looks like it's powdery a little bit. But you still do the same thing with them. hmm Now, if you want them a little bit more, I guess, on the softer side, not chewy, then you would make them fatter. The fatter you make them is like the more it'll be more like a bread as you keep going along. The fatter you make it. So that's the trick to that. And when you make it fat like that, you're going to want to cook it for a lesser time. So you got to really pay attention. And yeah, so that's it. You see? Mm-hmm. I'm going to wrap these up. And that's going to go with my lunch tomorrow, which is going to be what I ate for dinner today. Now, I'm going to put them in the microwave because I don't want them to get soggy. And like if I throw it in there while they're still warm, I throw it in the fridge, it'll get like, it just won't be a good texture to me after that. All right, guys, so that was it. Okay, we got that done. Now, let's move on. Hope y'all enjoyed that. See you in just a sec, literally. All right, tasting it. Mm-hmm. Let's see how it came out. Mm. Wow. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm not high. So this ain't munchies talking. Mm-hmm. It's not overpowering. It's not salty. Mm. Okay. Mm-hmm. That'll work. You can make your noodles however you want to. Mm. This is good. And the bread's not bad either. Mm-hmm. Mm. Smells mostly of garlic bread, but mm-hmm. Alright guys. Was just giving you a look and letting you know how it tastes. Mm-hmm. Talk to y'all soon.